Most people don't have this set up correctly. And so when they want to learn a skill, all they do is they go online and they check how much do people with this skill earn. And then you see a particular figure online. Maybe you see $100,000. And then you tell yourself, wow, I'd like to earn $100,000. And so you run to go and start learning how to implement. And then when you start learning how to implement, you discover that, this thing is difficult. It's difficult to learn how to program. It's difficult to learn how to play the guitar. It's difficult to learn how to play the piano. I thought it would be easy. I thought I could learn it in 2 months. I thought I could learn it in 3 months and start earning $100,000 in 3 months. So you lose steam at that point. Hello, have you ever tried to learn a skill? Have you ever tried to perfect a craft or learn a trade, and somehow you lost steam at the middle? You started learning it, you even invested money into programs, into courses that you never finished, and so you were never able to learn that skill. You even paid people to teach you how to do that skill, but somehow you couldn't follow the learning process through, and you were not able to achieve that goal that you wanted to achieve of being a skillful person in that particular craft, trade, or whatever it is that you have actually tried to do. In today's discussion, I'm going to explain to you why that happened to you, and I'm also going to explain to you why it looks like whenever you try to learn a high income skill, you either are not able to learn that skill to mastery, or you get stuck in the middle and then you lose steam and you give up, or even when you learn the high income skill, you end up not earning high income from that skill. And so you end up learning a high income skill, but you're earning very low income because nobody is willing to compensate you for your high income skill. In today's discussion, you're going to find out why, and you're going to learn how to overcome that so that you'll be able to learn any skill that you set out to learn, any creative skill that you set out to learn, and then you'll be able to turn that skill into a high income producing asset. Now, to kick this off, I'm going to tell you a story. Many years ago, over a decade ago, I wanted to learn the piano. And when I started out learning the piano, I had someone who volunteered to teach me how to play the piano. He taught me the major scale, he taught me the minor scale, he taught me the major chords, and he told me that he had given me all that I needed to have a good foundation. He gave me some exercises, and after 2 months of being on that journey, I found that I lost steam. I found that it was too difficult for me at that time, and I gave myself an excuse. And guess what the excuse was? I told myself, well, I can't learn to play the piano. I can't become a creative piano player because I don't have a piano of my own at home. So that was how I got stuck, and I gave up my dream of learning how to play the piano. Interestingly, I had other friends who also had the same desire to learn the skill of playing the piano. They also did not have a piano of theirs in their homes, but they figured out a way to learn how to play the piano. They figured out a way to get access to people who had the piano, and they were able to become skilled at playing the piano at that time. After that experience, I had another desire, I had another goal, I had another dream. And I said, okay, maybe this time I should learn how to play the box guitar. And so this time I said, okay, let me purchase a box guitar so that I can have something I can practice with at home. After purchasing the box guitar, I got someone who was willing to teach me, at least to the best of his knowledge. And that person gave me what I needed for starters. The person taught me how to play the major scale, how to play the pentatonic scale on C, G. The person also taught me how to play the major chords on about 4 to 5 keys. If I had taken what that person had taught me and I kept at it, consistently practicing and honing that skill, I would have become a very good box guitarist. But guess what? After 3 months to 6 months, I started having blisters in my pinky fingers, and it became really frustrating, the pain that I would go through just to play my box guitar. I also was not happy because I did not sound really proficient at playing the box guitar at that time. I felt like even though I invested about 2 to 3 months in learning this skill, I still did not have what I felt it takes to become proficient at playing the box guitar. So that was how I gave up on that goal, and I stopped halfway. Guess what? There were people in my circle who did not have a box guitar, but they were able to learn how to play the box guitar despite the challenges they had. They were able to develop that creative skill, And then I ended up giving one of them my box guitar to help them perfect their skill. Now, maybe you're listening to me today and there are skills that you have tried to learn before. You knew that if you could learn these skills, your life would be better. You knew that if you could learn these skills, you'll become more valuable. You'll be able to earn more money. But somehow you started learning it and you stopped halfway, or you learned it and you never did anything with it. I'm going to show you why you had that problem, and I'm going to give you the key that you need to overcome that and learn any skill that you need, including high income skills, such that when you learn these skills, you'll be able to use these skills proficiently and profitably to make your life better and to make that skill worth the while. Now, the reason why many people try to learn a skill and they get stuck halfway, or they learn the skill completely, and even though that skill is a high income skill, they are still low income earners, is because they have not understood the process of creativity. Now, in my previous episodes, I explained the different steps to be able to do creative things. And the first step is to actually be in the state of being creative, and then be in the state of feeling creative, and then be in the state of thinking creative, and then you can now do creative things. I'm going to be explaining how to do creative things, and by extension, how to become skillful in anything that you desire to learn or desire to do, in any trade, in any craft, in any field of practice or field of demonstration. And it doesn't matter what field that is. It could be in the field of science, in the field of art, in the field of business, whatever business, craft that you have a desire to master. What I'm going to show you is going to help you become a master at that thing and manifest your creativity and deploy your creativity in a profitable way. The reason why many people are not able to do creative things is because they don't understand what Myron Golden calls the 4 levels of value. And so I'm going to explain that to you briefly in a way that will make sense to you in context of what I'm sharing with you today. Now, there are 4 levels of value, and the first level of value, the first level of value is the level of implementation. The level of implementation. The next level is the level of unification. The next level after unification is the level of communication. And then the next level is the level of imagination. Now, Myron Golden calls this the 4 levels of value, but I'm going to show you how this is also applicable to being able to do creative things. Now, when you're learning a skill, you're actually learning how to become an implementer, how to implement something, how to do a task. And learning how to do a task is the lowest level of value, but it's a very fundamental and important level of value, because if no one is there to do the task, then nothing will be created, nothing will be manifested. Nobody will be able to receive the value that was taught about in the imagination level. Now listen to this. Everything that you have become now today is a product of the fact that you learned a skill. The fact that you can walk today is because you learned how to walk. When you were born, you did not know how to walk, you did not know how to talk, you did not know how to write, you did not know how to do anything. But somehow you learned how to walk even when you were a little child. You learned how to talk even when you were a little child. But when it comes to learning a skill, you feel like the first time you try to learn that skill, you should be able to perfect it. Even though the first time you tried to walk, you fell several times. It took you a while after falling and standing up several times before you were able to perfect the skill of walking or the skill of talking. But why is it that when it comes to learning a skill, let's say a skill of programming or a skill of playing music, or a skill of making clothes, why is it that when it's time to learn all these skills, we feel like it's too hard and then we stop halfway? The reason is that most times we try to do these things, we try to do these activities without being in the state of being creative. And as a result, we are unable to feel like doing it. And we never do anything until we feel like doing it, right? We never can do anything until we have the emotional energy something that gives us the anticipation to do that thing. And that is where emotions and feelings come into play. And so when you don't feel like doing it, you will not be able to think of ways that you can bypass the roadblocks that are stopping you from being able to do the practice or do the activity that will make you skillful or that will give you the mastery in that field that you're trying to gain a skill. And so that is the first mistake people make. Now, after making that mistake, they come down here and they try to want to implement. And when they try to implement, because they don't have their being, feel, and think locked in, they will find out that they will start and then they will stop halfway because they discover that it's hard, or they discover that there is a difficulty, or they discover that they need to invest in a particular thing or a program or an equipment or a tool. And so they tell themselves, no, I can't do this. No, I can't do this. And then they get stuck at the implementation level. There are some other categories of people who succeed at the implementation level. They succeed at being able to learn the skill, but they get stuck at the implementation level. And so even though they have a high income skill, they still earn low income because they are stuck at the implementation level. And according to Myron Golden, at the implementation level, you earn anything between 35K to 100 or 85K. Let's leave it at 85K. And then when you get to the unification level, according to Myron Golden, you earn anything from 100K to 250K. And then when you get to the communication level, you earn anything from 250K to millions of dollars, right? And then when you get to the imagination level, you earn anything from millions of dollars to billions of dollars, right? Billions of dollars. But because you don't have all of this dialed in, and you came and you started from the implementation level, you are stuck here. In fact, some people don't even make it to the highest band of this level. Why? Because you're trying to start from the implementation level, and so there's no drive to continue when it gets difficult, when it gets tough. But the way that you can overcome this problem, the two problems that I'm trying to help you overcome today, first problem being the problem of starting and never finishing, whether it's to write a book. Maybe you tried to write a book and you started and you got stuck in the middle. The way to overcome that problem, and the other problem being the problem of learning the skill or writing the book or being proficient at programming or being proficient at playing the guitar or being proficient at playing the piano or making clothes. You're still a low income earner, even though you have a high income skill. The solution to those two problems is to start from the imagination level. Now, when you start from this level, you'll be able to overcome all the roadblocks that you face here. Either you overcome it by learning multiple skills that you need, or you overcome it by identifying the people who can help you navigate that challenge or who can help you facilitate that process. Now, when you get to the imagination level, you are thinking of ideas. So let's say you want to learn how to make clothes. If you are functioning from the imagination level, you first start by identifying a problem. You start by identifying a problem that you feel you can solve. The good thing about the imagination level is that when your imagination is right, even when you lack the skill to implement, because you have this working for you and you have this working for you, you either be able to learn the skill or find the person who can help you achieve the result, even though you don't have the skill yourself. And that's where unification comes in. You'll be able to unify resources, either human resources or material resources, in a way that will help you achieve the goal that you're trying to achieve at this level. But what most people do, even when they succeed at learning a skill, they are not able to manifest their creativity because they are stuck at implementing. They are stuck at trying to do the thing themselves at this level. And so they are not able to move up the ladder of value. They are not able to provide value at a higher level. They are only able to provide value at the lowest level. And when they try to, increase their income, all they can think of is to work harder. And so when you're trying to increase your value and you stay on this level of implementation, the only thing that will come to your mind will be to work harder or to take more jobs, take multiple jobs, and work like a horse. But when you climb to the higher levels of value, you are able to unify resources. You are able to identify people who have the skill set that you need, or people who know the people that have what you need to be able to achieve the results you need to achieve in the implementation level. And then, because you have this imagination set right, you'll be able to communicate internally even when you are losing steam. Now, there are two levels to this communication level. There is the internal communication. There's the internal communication, and there's the external communication. The internal communication comes in place when you are losing steam, you are getting frustrated, or you are getting stuck. You are able to encourage yourself. You are able to give yourself reasons to continue. Communicate that from within to your mind and help you stay the course and put the right pictures in your mind so that you don't lose steam, right? So that's what the internal communication does for you. But when you are stuck at this level of implementation, you are not able to use your communication correctly. In fact, your internal communication will be corrupted because you are doing laborious work. So you don't even have the time to think the right thoughts. You don't have the time to tell yourself the right things or listen to people that can tell you the right things. And that's where external communication is, where you take courses, where you take trainings, where you network and connect with other people who can inspire you and motivate you to continue in that skill or in that craft. Now, when you function from the imagination level, you identify a problem. And because you've identified the problem, you figure out a solution. And once you figure out a solution, you dial in your internal communication and your external communication. That is convincing and persuading yourself the reason why you need to achieve this goal against all odds. Because you have your imaginations right, you know the problem you want to solve, and you have a purpose driving you towards solving that problem, it will propel your internal communication and even your external communication. That is, you're networking with other people who will help you achieve that same goal that you have set for yourself. And when you have that set up correctly, you begin to identify the resources, be they human resources, be they material resources. You'll be able to identify them and unify them at the unification level. And when you're able to do that, you'll be able to produce the results that you should be producing at the implementation level. So if you want to do creative things, if you want to learn a skill, any skill, a high income skill, and you don't want to lose steam in the middle of the journey, or you don't want to get stuck and get discouraged in such a way that you dump that skill and you go about learning new skills but never perfecting anyone, you want to start by having your imagination on the right things, having a problem that you imagine that you want to solve. Most people don't have this set up correctly. And so when they want to learn a skill, all they do is they go online and they check how much do people with this skill earn. And then you see a particular figure online. Maybe you see $100,000, and then you tell yourself, wow, I'd like to earn $100,000. And so you run to go and start learning how to implement. And then when you start learning how to implement, you discover that, this thing is difficult. It's difficult to learn how to program. Oh, it's difficult to learn how to play the guitar. Oh, it's difficult to learn how to play the piano. I thought it would be easy. I thought I could learn it in 2 months. I thought I could learn it in 3 months and start earning $100,000 in 3 months. And so you lose steam at that point. But when you start from the level of imagination and you're trying to solve a problem, and then you come to the level of communication, you communicate that vision to yourself first, internally, and then you connect with other people through communication also, letting them understand your drive, your vision, and your purpose. People who have a like mind with you, you find that you'll be inspired to identify the resources at your disposal that will help you overcome all the roadblocks that will be on the way of your implementation of that skill, whether it's learning the skill or using the skill or monetizing the skill. Now, if you have this set up correctly, there's no skill that you will try to learn that you will not be able to learn. There's no problem you will try to solve that you will not succeed at solving. Even if you don't have the skill required to solve it, you'll find the people that you need to help you solve that problem. You'll be able to unify resources I've seen people who have an idea and they don't have the skill to carry that idea through. But because they have the management skills and the unification skills, they are able to bring people together and inspire those people to work with them on those ideas using their own skills, because they now believe in the vision that that person has imagined and communicated to them. They are now unified towards achieving that purpose, that goal, to solve that problem. And because of that, they'll be able to implement anything. And if you study the book of Genesis 11, you see what the Bible says. When God was speaking about the people who were trying to build the Tower of Babel, he said, these people are one. That is, they are unified. And then he said, they speak one language, so they communicate correctly. And then he said, therefore, that which they have imagined to do, that means the solution they are trying to create, even though it didn't make sense, he said nothing that they have imagined will be held from them. So because they had their communication dialed in, they had their unification dialed in, and they had their imagination dialed in, nothing they tried to implement will be held from them. And the only way God was able to stop the project of the Tower of Babel from succeeding was by taking away their communication and putting diverse tongues and diverse languages among them, so they couldn't communicate effectively again, and therefore there was a disconnect between imagination, unification, and implementation, and that was what brought that project to a halt. So if you want to succeed at doing creative things, you want to have your imagination, you want to have your communication, you want to have your unification or management skills, and then you want to have your implementation skills dialed in and set up in the right order. That way, nothing you imagine to do will be impossible to you. Thank you for listening to me today. I believe you found some value. If you found some value in what I've said today, I encourage you to share this with someone so that they can receive the same value and transform their journey, their creative journey, and become better persons and profit from their creativity. See you in my next episode. Till then, bye-bye and have a good one.